Hello everyone, this is part 15 of What If Naruto was trained by Anko, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Sasuke immediately started his attack by closing the distance between them and throwing a punch at Ino's face which she hardly managed to evade. He didn't let up however and followed with a high kick aimed at her head. She managed to put up a block but kick had thrown her off balance and Sasuke used this to punch her in the gut. Seeing her double over, he jumped back and started doing hand seals. Naruto recognized the hand seals and couldn't believe that Sasuke would use a jutsu like that on a fellow Konoha shinobi. Sure, he wanted to reach the finals as well and he would give it his all during his match, but he wouldn't try to seriously hurt his opponent. If Sasuke used that jutsu, Ino would be hurt or even killed. Sasuke finished his hand seals and started to yell out, "Kaiten, Gukakyu no jutsu," but then he felt an enormous pain in his en originating from the seal that Snake Freak gave him. He then remembered that ever since that he got that seal, using chakra was painful and very hard to do. He would have to find another way to defeat this fangirl. Since ninjutsu was out, he decided to simply use taijutsu to defeat her. Ino, who had been recovering from the punch to the gut, heard Sasuke yell out the name of a Kaiten jutsu and prepared herself for lots of pain. But luckily the pain never came and she looked up to see Sasuke holding his en like he was in pain. She was grateful for whatever gave him pain, but when she saw him smirking at her, she knew the fight wasn't over yet. She got in a taijutsu stance she had learned in the academy and waited for Sasuke's attack. Sasuke, not wanting to waste any time, went straight for the K. At the last moment he changed his direction and kicked her from below, sending her upwards in the sky. He jumped up and kicked her another time, sending her higher and higher until he started to fall as well. While they were falling, he kicked her a last time, sending her straight into the ground, knocking her out. Hayate, seeing that Ino wouldn't get back up, called for the medics and pronounced Sasuke as the winner of the fight. When Sasuke tried to get back up the stairs, Kakashi went down and told Sasuke to come with him so he could place a suppression seal on him. While everybody was worried if Ino would be okay, the board showed the next two fighters for the second match. Naruto looked at the board and smiled. This meant that he wouldn't have to fight one of his teammates to reach the finals, only two more to evade, he thought. Second match, Aburame Shino vs Zaku. Would the two of you please come down? Hayate said, announcing the second match. Team 8 and Naruto wished Shino good luck even though they knew Shino would win. Each of them knew that underneath the calm and reserved image Shino projected there was a warrior hidden, just waiting for the right time. Shino had a good head on his shoulders and he could remain calm in almost every situation, allowing him to wise his opponents and come up with an effective way to defeat them. Second match, Aburame Shino vs Zaku. Show us a good fight. Begin. Hayate said, starting the match. The sound nin wasted no time and used his right arm to use his sound attack. Shino however made no acknowledgement of this and remained standing waiting for the attack to hit him. The attack from Zaku hit him in the face and it threw up a lot of dust, blocking the fight from everybody's view. Even Zaku couldn't see if his attack had done any real damage, but he already started to yell out his victory, but when the dust cleared he saw that instead of the real Shino he had hit a clone made of bugs. He turned around when he heard Shino's voice behind him. "You should have remembered that I already know this attack from when you used it in the forest. Therefore I had no trouble to anticipate and evade it. You on the other know nothing about me or my fighting style, which should have made you a little more cautious. These bugs are chakra-eating bugs. When so many attack at once they'll suck you dry in about half a minute. Since you're already injured, I give you a choice. Give up," Shino said calmly. Zaku cursed. He had been tricked and now he was surrounded by a bunch of bugs and their master. He couldn't lose this match. If he did, Orochimaru would have his hide. Better fight and lose than give up and get ked by the snake guy, he thought. Give up. Either way you have lost. If you attack one side, the other side will attack you. There's no way out, Shino repeated. Zaku laughed and slowly but surely raised both arms, each one pointing towards his enemy. One hand aimed at Shino and the other at the bugs. He grinned at Shino and started gathering chakra in his arms. When he tried to attack, however, both of his arms exploded, blasting his right forearm off his body and causing major damage to his left arm. Before he even had the time to realize what had happened, Shino appeared behind him and punched him in the back of his neck, knocking him out. Winner is Aberrane Shino of the Leaf. Hayate said, seeing that Zaku was unable to continue the fight. Shino calmly went up the stairs and joined his teammates on the balcony. When they asked how he had done that, he explained to them that he ordered his bugs to close off the holes in Zaku's hands. When Zaku gathered the necessary chakra for his attack, it had no way out and thus exploded inside his arms. That was the reason he told Zaku that he should give up. The rest nodded and Naruto congratulated Shino on coming up with such a plan so fast. They were still talking amongst the four of them when they heard Hayate call out the next match. When Hinata heard her name, she quickly looked towards the board and saw that she had to fight Sakura. In a way, she was glad because Sakura was an opponent she could beat and she had evaded her teammates and the Sand Nin, but she felt somewhat bad for having to fight Sakura. Had the fight been a day earlier, she would have shown little or no mercy towards her, but now that she had apologized for her actions, Hinata found it difficult to stay mad. She would fight her like an equal kunoichi from the Leaf, she decided. Hinata and Sakura made their way down, walking side by side. Hinata looked at Sakura and saw that she looked very depressed and lonely, so she tried to cheer her up by giving her some words of acknowledgement and encouragement. Sakura-san, let's do our best, okay? We'll face each other as equal kunoichi from the Leaf. Please give it your all. Hinata said, smiling at the pink-haired girl next to her. Hi, Hinata-san. I'll fight you to the best of my abilities. Thank you for kind words. Please don't hold back, Sakura said, giving Hinata a small thankful smile. Hinata and Sakura made it to the middle of the stadium right before Hayate, who looked ready to rest from his cough. He nodded to both girls and told them to begin the fight. Both girls jumped back to take some distance and to observe their opponent. Sakura made the first move by making some bunchins and attacked Hinata with the normal taijutsu style she had been taught in the academy. Of course, Hinata had no problem defending herself from this attack. She blocked Sakura's punch and retaliated by throwing a punch of her own. She would first test Sakura's skills without using the yuken, she thought. Sakura saw the punch coming and evaded it by jumping back, and so she had been back at her starting position. She was a little surprised at Hinata, since this was a whole different person than before. The Hinata from the academy was shy and hated to hurt people. This Hinata, however, wasn't shy at all, and she fought with determination and without hesitation. You have changed, Hinata-san. You're not the shy and gentle girl from before. I wonder what happened. Sakura asked. It's simple, Sakura-san. I grew up. Thanks to my team and Naruto, I realized that I had to change if I wanted to be a true kunoichi of the Leaf. I had to become strong and confident, so I trained hard to change myself. Hinata answered her. A true kunoichi from the Leaf, huh? Do you think I could become one as well? Sakura said while slowly advancing towards her opponent. You can if you really want to. It's up to you, I guess. Stop being a silly fangirl and start being a shinobi. If you work hard, I'm sure you can become a true kunoichi from the Leaf. Hinata said, ducking a punch thrown by Sakura. I will. I don't want to be a fangirl anymore. I'll work hard and I will become a true kunoichi. Sakura yelled to herself. Thank you, Hinata-san. I will work hard from now on. Please stop holding back and fight me at your full strength. I know I cannot win today, but one day I will become strong enough to fight you evenly. Sakura said, hoping Hinata would acknowledge her wish. Hinata nodded and took her basic yuken fighting stance. She could see Sakura meant every word, and she started to respect the pink-haired girl a little more. It took courage and guts to accept your mistakes and to take the first step towards changing yourself. Hinata knew this all too well, since she had to take those steps as well not too long ago. She motioned to Sakura to attack her, showing that she would fight her to the maximum of her abilities. Sakura nodded and started her attack, throwing punch after punch, kick after kick, and while she was certain to lose this fight, she had never felt so good about herself as she did on that moment. She could feel herself changing, and she liked it so much that she promised herself to never again be weak. Hinata dodged or evaded Sakura's attack, waiting for her opening to counter-attack. Finally she saw it, and losing no time, she started her own attack. She pushed through Sakura's block and hit her in the right shoulder, which made Sakura wince in the sudden pain. The realization that she couldn't use her arm anymore came only a few seconds later. Hinata, however, didn't stop her attack with just one hit. She continued and hit Sakura several times before she punched her in the stomach. Sakura, who was close to losing consciousness from all those hits, felt the punch to the stomach and finally gave into the feeling of consciousness and started to fall, but Hinata grabbed her by the arms, preventing her to hit the ground. She looked over at Hayate, who nodded and yelled out Hinata's victory. Hinata then used one of the medical jutsus she knew to help Sakura wake up. A few seconds later, Sakura opened her eyes and looked around. She saw that she had been carried to the balcony and that Hinata was sitting next to her. I guess I lost her, Sakura said while looking at the ground. You may have lost the fight, Sakura-san, but you acquired something that is much more important. You took the first steps towards changing yourself, and that is the hardest step, believe me, I know. Hinata said, smiling at the girl sitting in front of her. How did you do it, Hinata-san? How did you become so strong? Sakura asked softly. I did it by getting help from my friends and teammates. Without them I would never have succeeded. They encouraged and supported me all the way. Thanks to them I become the Hinata I am today. Hinata said. Help from my teammates. I guess that will be a problem for me. Our team is anything but a team. We hardly know each other. We never spend any time together except missions and training. All I have been doing is chasing Sasuke. I'm such an idiot, aren't I? Sakura confessed with tears forming in her eyes. You're not an idiot, Sakura. I'll tell you the same thing Naruto told me. If you're weak, then all you have to do is train harder. If something doesn't work, then try harder. Nobody ever got strong by sitting on their ass and crying about how weak they are. If your team isn't willing to help, then we will help you in their place. Hinata said, shocking Sakura. Hinata is right, Sakura. If Sasuke is unwilling to help you train and become stronger, then we will. You are a shinobi from the Leaf and we don't leave our comrades behind. So cheer up and stand tall and proud like a true kunoichi from the Leaf. Naruto said, with Shino and Kiba standing next to him nodding their agreement as well. Sakura's heart stopped when she heard Naruto's voice, thinking he would tell her to get lost or something. But instead he told her that he would help her in her training. And Shino and Kiba practically told her the same thing by nodding their head at his words. She couldn't help the tears from falling, and she wondered why they would help her after all the things she had said to them. Thank you, Naruto. I'm so sorry for all those things I said before. I was wrong and I apologize. I hope that one day we can become friends like you're with Hinata and the rest. Sakura said softly. Naruto nodded and smiled at her. He was glad she finally realized that she was doing things the wrong way. Now she could become strong and they could become friends. He always needed more friends, so he would let bygones be bygones and focus on the future. Anko, Kurenai, Asuma and Kakashi had been listening to the young genins and they all smiled at each other. Their students were well on their way to become the next generation of powerful Leaf Shinobi. They had become friends in a matter of days, and this would prove to be the foundation for the rest of their shinobi careers. Anko and Kurenai were beaming with pride at their students since they knew the bad history between the two girls and between Naruto and Sakura. The fact that they were willing to give her a second chance showed how much they had matured during those last few months. Kakashi was happy as well. His student had finally seen the error of her ways and he couldn't be more happy. He liked the girl and he knew she could be a great kunoichi if only she focused her attention on training instead of Sasuke. He was, however, a bit disappointed at how his team was functioning outside of training and missions, but he realized that sometimes people just weren't meant to work together. Meanwhile, the fourth match between Sabaku no Temari and Tenten had been finished in favor of Temari. Tenten, who was a weapon specialist, had no chance against Temari, who was a wind user. Every weapon she used was blasted away by the wind Temari made by swinging her large battle fan. When Hayate called the match, the rest of the Konoha genin was surprised Tenten had lost so quickly and without being able to hurt her opponent. Naruto looked over at the two other members of the Sand team and couldn't help but pity the one who would have to fight the red-headed boy. Not only did he seem very strong, he also had a look on his face that promised pain to those who fought him. Suddenly Anko told him to look at the message board, and when he saw his own name he couldn't help but get excited. His opponent was a certain Akadu Yoroi from Konoha, but he had never met the guy before. He knew he was the teammate from that Kabuto guy, so he wouldn't underestimate the guy. He slowly stood up and went down the stairs to the arena. When he passed Anko, she quickly told him good luck and to kick the guy's ass. Naruto smiled and nodded, promising to do so. He would not lose this fight. But he didn't want to give away too many of his skills, seeing this was only the preliminaries and not the true third test. Still, he would kick the guy's ass, he thought. Standing before his opponent, Naruto noticed the age difference and wondered how in God's name it was possible to still be a genin at his age. He must suck really bad, or he must be hiding something, Naruto thought. When he heard Hayate yelling, "Began," he took his taijutsu stance and waited for an attack. He didn't have to wait long because Yoroi immediately lunged forward, trying to grab Naruto by the arms. Seeing the attack, Naruto moved his body and blocked his opponent. He then grabbed on Yoroi's right forearm with both hands and started swinging him around before letting him go. Yoroi crashed into the ground but quickly got back up. He launched himself at Naruto again, but this time he attacked with a kick which Naruto blocked without a problem. Naruto grabbed the leg with his left hand and used his right fist to backhand Yoroi in the face. Yoroi, who lost his balance from the punch, stumbled to his left right into Naruto's roundhouse kick, sending him back the other side. Since he had no time to put up any kind of block, fell down on the ground. When he looked up, he saw that Naruto hadn't moved at all ever since the beginning of the match. He cursed, realizing that his opponent was obviously more talented at taijutsu than he was, but in the end it wouldn't matter thanks to his Kekkei Genkai. He started grinning and couldn't help it when a small chuckle escaped his mouth. "What's so funny? Seems to me you have not to be laughing about," Naruto asked, hearing his opponent chuckle. "You will find out soon enough, little boy. For now you may have the upper hand, but that will soon change," Yoroi said. Naruto didn't care about what Yoroi said, but he was now on guard. You never know what might come next. Seeing his opponent didn't make any sign of attacking, Naruto decided that he would be the one to on the offensive side this time. He quickly closed the distance between them, ducked a little and threw a right punch at Yoroi's midsection. Yoroi blocked the punch with both arms and then tried to grab Naruto once more. Naruto, however, wasn't finished, and while Yoroi was blocking his punch, he elbowed him in the face with his left arm. Unfortunately, Yoroi managed to grab both of his arms and didn't let go. Naruto then felt like his chakra was being sucked out his body. "So you noticed it, didn't you? You're right, I'm absorbing your chakra just by holding onto you. It's my Kekkei Genkai, it allows me to absorb chakra just by touch. A small touch is all I need, and now your chakra is healing my wounds and restoring my chakra levels. You can't win," Yoroi said while laughing loudly. Naruto smirked. If this guy thinks he would just allow him to take his chakra, he would be in for a big surprise. What a moron, he thought. He grinned and jumped up from the ground with both feet and planted them right into Yoroi's face. Yoroi, not expecting such an attack, let go of Naruto's arms from shock and sudden pain. Naruto had broken his nose and blood was flowing from his nose onto the ground. "I hope you didn't think that I would just allow you to take my chakra. Besides, so what if you take a little of my chakra? I got plenty where that came from. You see, that's the problem with you Kekkei Genkai user, you always brag about it," Naruto said, a little panting from chakra loss. "All I have to do now is prevent you from touching me and your Kekkei Genkai is useless," Naruto further said. He calmly took out one of his knives and took a stance. He didn't want to use taijutsu anymore since Yoroi would absorb chakra from him. He channeled some chakra into the seal on the knife and the chakra casing appeared. He wouldn't use his kenjutsu techniques, but he could do the same attacks with a knife as well, only much smaller and weaker. Still, it would be enough to fight this guy. Naruto started to attack Yoroi with his knife just by making slashing and stabbing motions. Nonetheless, Yoroi had no choice than to evade the attacks. He took some distance from Naruto thinking that he was safe from attacks. But then he saw Naruto bring down his knife in a fast motion, and a second later he felt a sharp pain in his chest. He looked down and saw that a large cut had appeared going from his left to right side. It wasn't deep enough to be life-threatening, but it sure as hell hurt, and it bled enough as well. Up on the balcony, the genins were not believing their eyes. Naruto had been dominating the whole match, and he had used some very nice moves and shown some real skill at taijutsu. They could hardly recognize the Naruto in front of them. They knew he had gotten stronger and that he had changed a lot, but this was too much. Lee was fascinated by the taijutsu style Naruto used. As a taijutsu specialist he knew a lot of styles but he didn't know the one Naruto was using. Guy-sensei, what style was Naruto using? I don't recognize it at all. Lee asked his teacher. You couldn't know it, Lee. Naruto developed this style on his own. Anko said before Guy could open his mouth. Lee and Guy were shocked to hear Naruto had made his own style at such a young age. Sure, Guy had his own style that he created over the years as a taijutsu specialist, but Lee wasn't even close to making his own style. Anko laughed at the shocked expressions on their faces and said that Naruto didn't exactly invent his own style, rather that he combined two styles into one that he could use. Lee felt slightly better hearing that. But he still had to admire how Naruto had succeeded in making a taijutsu style that suited him perfectly. The other genins who heard Anko talk as well wondered how Naruto had gotten so strong in such a short period. He was no longer the last of the academy, they realized. Back in the arena, Yoroi was starting to panic. If Naruto could cut him from a distance, then he had no way of winning. He took out a kunai and tried to attack, ensuring that Naruto didn't have the time to attack again. He tried to wound Naruto with his kunai, but each time his attacks were blocked. He was starting to get weak in the head from blood loss, but he didn't stop his attacks. Naruto, who had been blocking, waited for an opening so he could counter-attack. When Yoroi slowed down, he seized the opportunity and punched him right on the jaw and followed up with a kick to the head. Yoroi jumped backwards, evading the kick, but he didn't have the time to let his guard down. Naruto quickly did some handseals and yelled out, "Kaiten, Nenchaku Bakuhatsu Hotaru no Jutsu, 1, and brought his hand to his mouth and exhaled. 10 small fireballs in the shape of small fireflies came out and attached them to Yoroi's body. Strange thing was that they didn't burn, but no matter what he tried, he couldn't put them out. It's no use trying to extinguish them. They're not normal fireballs. This is one of my original jutsus and it's called, Kaiten, Nenchaku Bakuhatsu Hotaru no Jutsu. I can make them explode one by one or all at the same time. Now I'll give you the chance to give up. I suggest you take that chance." Naruto said. "I won't give up so easily. Even if your little jutsu works, what kind of explosion can such a small fire do? Bring it on." Yoroi said, certain that he could handle this jutsu. Naruto sighed. Some people just didn't know when to give up. He brought up his arm and snapped 2 fingers, detonating one of the fireflies. What followed was explosion that no of the bystanders had expected. Above the sound of the explosion, they could hear the screams of Yoroi, who was now holding his right arm. From the balcony, everyone could clearly see the damage his arm had taken. It missed a significant chunk of F and seemed to be burned as well. "Again, give up. Please, I don't want to make the rest of them to explode too. Next time all 9 of them will go off in one time," Naruto warned Yoroi. Yoroi couldn't believe the kind of damage one explosion did. If he didn't give up, he would surely be killed. He realized he had no choice and nodded to the referee, indicating that he gave up. Naruto listened as Hayate called the match in his favor and let the remaining 9 fireflies disappear, glad that he didn't have to use them. He slowly turned around and made his way over to the stairs. He had won his match and he was very glad and satisfied, even if he found the match a little disappointing. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.